Yeah, here.
Chicka, chicka. Yeah.
Kill Bill and Rev. We don't suck. Ooh.
Yummy, 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 I got blood in my cummies and I feel like coming on you.
Yeah, that's
Episode 29. Coincidentally, Bill's favorite sex position.
Yeah, I do love the 29. The 29 is a good. It's a real power move. You know what I'm saying, brother?
Explain why it's underrated, Bill.
I mean, like, you're there, she's there, he's there, you're watching.
Good. How you been, man?
I've been good, man. I've been good. I've been struggling with a rare blood disorder. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, man, you know, same old, man. Just excited about our upcoming LA trip.
Oh, shit, boy. That's right. We've already announced it. It's out there for the public to hear about.
Yes. Man, and everyone is super excited, I think.
Exactly. This is like living in the past. Our schedule right now, dude, we don't even know what the people are thinking. We could be like, hey, we're going to LA, and then everyone's just going to say, wow, I hope they die. And we're just like, yeah, thanks for the support.
Yeah, there's no telling, but you know, sometimes you just have to like go for it. That's what my pastor told me.
Yep. Yeah, man. So how are you? Tell me everything.
I'm good, man. It's been now like a couple weeks of being self-employed. And I have to say, the quality of my life has drastically improved.
I'm glad, dude. I'm glad.
Thank you, man. On the one hand, I feel like I'm busier than ever, but it's a good busy. It's a busy that I am happy to get behind. I'm working on stuff I believe in, working on stuff I've always wanted to do. And now I feel like that will allow for just a more productive me this year in general. I'm sure you feel the same way. I mean, you've been self-employed for longer than I have.
New year, new me is what I'm saying, even though I quit in February.
New year, new moon.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Shout out New Moon. Good guy.
Good guy. Swell guy.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're happier though, man. I know it was like, it's kind of a struggle sometimes, you know, when you're working a full-time job and you also are like trying to like artistically be an artiste and also run a net label and also conquer the world. It's difficult to do all that at one time.
It's true. It is a bit. I felt like before I was just gonna kill myself on accident, like by overworking myself and trying to balance way too many things at once and trying to also have a personal life.
Yeah.
It was challenging. Especially because, you know, I've lived with my partner for 4 years now. Her and I are engaged. So,
gross.
Because I was spending so much time at work and traveling back and forth, and then I was trying to like do all the We Don't Suck stuff and the music stuff on the side, it felt like there was very little time that I could devote to her and I, right? And now it's definitely changed. Now I can schedule things the way I want them to be. I can give priority to this or that or the third. So I feel healthier as a result, honestly. And the craziest thing is probably that I haven't thought about my old job at all since I've left. I've been keeping myself so busy and keeping myself busy with stuff I really care for that the past really feels behind me. And I was kind of worried going into the self-employed life that I would dwell on my former job for a bit, but that hasn't happened at all, and I don't think it will anytime soon.
I totally feel you on that, dude. Like I was tweeting about this the other day, but like I used to have stress dreams about work all the time when I was working full time, even when I was working part time, but especially when I was working full time, it was like I would always have dreams because, you know, I used to serve. I used to wait tables, and I would always have dreams about like 5,000 people showing up, and like I'd have to take care of all of them, and they were all angry, and like I would have
and horny.
Yeah, angry and horny guests. You know, and I can only give so many tugs in a row, you know?
There's only one you, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. I only have 5 hands, you know? But yeah, shit, dude. I used to have those dreams all the time, and I was really, really scared to quit my job, which is really funny now because, like, at the time I was just like, what if I need that money? Like, what if like this? What if that? And then I like realized, like, I was just like, I'm so not happy there. And my boss was cool about it. Like, my manager, she was just like, yeah, you can come back anytime.
Yeah.
You know, and she was just like, I support you and like what you're trying to do. Like, she was like up on the music shit. Like, she'd heard it, and like she was like kind of not keeping tabs on it, but you know, she was like she was keeping up with it. She would ask me about it a lot, you know?
Yeah. I think we both quit responsibly though, right? Because we didn't burn bridges in the process of quitting, and we didn't go into this just like on a whim. It was a deliberate decision and a product of many, many months of consideration up until that point. So I think it would have been more stressful had it been on like, you know what, fuck it, let's do it. That being said, even though I don't consciously think about the job, I definitely had a couple nightmares related to my old job,
right,
where I was still working there, and it's like as if it was normal, you know, because it's a dream. Mm-hmm. And so I guess it still lingers somewhere in my subconscious mind.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. It's not like I went out and snap, like that's it, that life has never existed. It's still there, but I think bit by bit is going to vacate my conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing that I said to myself was that I was ready to quit my job anyway. Like, even if I didn't have music, like, I think I was ready to look for a different job because I really didn't like it there anymore.
Right.
And then somebody who was there, they had this weird, because they didn't really like keep up with what I was doing. They thought that I was just like a rapper that didn't have like any sort of a fan base at all, and that I was just quitting and I was just going to make rap music. They kind of like were misconstrued in like what they heard from somebody else, that I was quitting to be a rapper. And it seemed funny to them,
right?
You know,
that sounds funny. Yeah,
it does sound funny. Yeah. And so they said that to me. They were just like, man, what if you never blow up? And I was just like, to me, blowing up is like never having to step in a Ruby Tuesdays ever again in my life. Like, that's it. That's fine. If I never have to do that and I can continue to make music and be happy, that's blowing up in my head. I've made it, Ma, you know? So
yeah, absolutely. I was really happy for you back then, because I remember I was telling you for months, I was asking you like, when are you going to quit? When are you going to quit? When do you think you're going to quit? And then when it finally happened, I was it felt weird to me, because it was like, damn, he did it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started thinking like, well, when will I be ready to quit, you know?
Today.
And I had been looking for new jobs, and then sort of sitting back and thinking to myself, well, will a new job change anything? Is it the environment that's causing me to be so drained? Is it the location? Is it the people? Is it the type of work? And I realized that it's a amalgamation of many things.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the right decision was for me to step away from doing that, because I knew what I wanted to do. It's not like I was not certain about what I wanted to do in my life. You know, to me, it's pretty clear what I enjoy doing is the creative avenue of stuff. Whether we're doing music, whether we're doing We Don't Suck, or even shit posting on Twitter, I know I enjoy all these things more. And I know that I'm drawn towards these things, and they make me feel more fulfilled.
Yeah.
Especially music, you know? So yeah, we quit to be rappers, and it does sound funny, but I think the way we did it is in a way that defies stereotypes. And I think we're going to be good. And it's been good, honestly. I think it was probably the best decision I have made this year so far.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think with you it was a little bit different than with me too, though, because I knew that you were kind of going into your job more as like a career than a job. Like, it seemed like something that you were like, even though like you knew that you wanted to rap and you wanted to be creative and you wanted to do what we're doing right now, you could have like continued down that path for the rest of your life, and like someone who was like a normal person might have been happy with that. You know what I mean? And like with me, it was just like, I was like, fuck this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
Completely fuck this. Because it was just like, it was to the point now where it's like people were asking me like what I do. and I was like embarrassed, not embarrassed to be like I'm a server, but like more like I would be like, yeah, I serve, but I felt like I had to supplement that with like, and I'm doing this music thing and it's like doing pretty good and blah, 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 you know, and then.
Right. You're basically trying to reassure yourself more than anything.
Yeah,
right?
every time. And I was like really, and now people like my family is kind of like aware of what I do now, you know, because like we did the Thanksgiving thing last year and I was telling them that I was like trying to quit, you know, and then everybody was like really cool about it though. I thought people were going to be weird. Like I thought my family would not understand, you know, but then like when I started like explaining like, yeah, we did this and we sold this many CDs and blah, 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 you know, they were
right.
They were kind of like more, I think people like respond more to like people having like success like monetarily from it than anything else.
I called my mom yesterday and it was the first time I told her that I've quit my previous job and now that I have my own company and I'm trying to run that as a business and it's going well. And I was honestly expecting her to freak out, you know, and tell me that it was not the right thing to do. And yet she was very supportive and she said she was proud of me and she wished me the best of luck. I don't think she really knows what it is that I do.
Yeah.
And I think we're fine. We're fine with that. As long as she knows that I'm happy, I think it'll be all right. And that's great because I never thought I'd get to this point in my life. I think quitting was like in general was terrifying for me on many levels. It's not just like, okay, well, where's the money coming from? It's also how do you look in the eyes of other people, whether it's your parents, whether it's your partner, your friends, or the colleagues that you worked with. There's this whole like, you know, people say, oh, there's a social stigma about this or that. There's a million social stigmas and they're all running simultaneously. And there's different things that we're all concerned about. There's lots of, I think, fears we have as just members of modern day society. And I think a lot of these things were playing on me and on my insecurities to begin with. And I felt like a lot of what was holding me back was ego. Because I could, up until this point, say, I'm this and that. I work for this company and this is what I do. And it felt real because I worked for someone. And I did something that is an established thing. There was very little risk in what I was doing. And now a lot of risk is involved. And going into it, I was worried that people would laugh at that and think how irresponsible. But now I think I'm more... I've like managed to sort of calm myself down, assess it rationally, and I'm proud of myself. What I'm doing right now, I don't think is foolish. I think it's brave. And an element of risk is something that should be commendable and not laughed at. Yeah. In my opinion.
No, I agree totally. I think a lot of times like we hear stuff from like fans and stuff, especially because like, dude, I've been getting messages from fans who thought that I was doing music full time for years now, you know, because when you have like a product that sounds like, I think it sounds pretty professional, you know, God, those fucking dogs, dude. I'm going to kill that dog. I'm going to kiss him. I'm going to kiss him right on the cheek. I have a product that seems... That sounds professional. I think it sounds professional. People hear it and just automatically think that's what you do for a living, based off, especially if they like it. If they like it a lot, that's what I do, dude. Like when I listen to music, I just assume people that sound a certain way. I'm like, yeah, they do that for a living, you know. And like most of the time, they don't. Like a lot of times, like some of your favorite indie rappers, they're you know, baristas or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just to get by or whatever. And it's just interesting to see how like people's perception online, like everyone's like, yeah, quit your job, you know, like they're just be like, yeah, just quit, you know, but it's scary.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of courage to do it. And I'm not shaming people who haven't taken that leap. Again, there's so many elements involved that need to be considered before you make such a life-changing decision. That being said, once you make it, stand by it and just keep, you know, working hard, dedicating yourself into something that you believe in. So spread your wings and fly or whatever.
Yeah. I also think that I think there's this like narrative that goes around on the internet, which is to chase your dreams. And there's nothing wrong with chasing your dreams. You should always chase your dreams, right? Like if you have the ability to do so, but you have to be like somewhat responsible about it. Like you always hear about like success stories about like, oh, I moved to LA and I only had $5 in my pocket. And so blah, 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 and like, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, me personally, that would terrify the shit out of me to just like drop everything and like not have like a solid plan and stuff like that. Like I have like people around me that like it would be really like detrimental to if I did that, and don't like, you always hear these success stories, but you don't hear about like the people who failed at them, because it's like way more people that fail than that are successful. And
they just don't get a voice.
Yeah, exactly. And so like you hear about that, but like you never hear about the guy who moved to LA with $5 in his pocket and then he had to like call his mom to get money to come home. You know what I mean? Like you don't hear about that. And you just got to be like, be smart and be responsible, but like don't compromise at the same time. Like you can find compromise until you come to a point where you don't need to anymore. And that's kind of like what we did,
Straight up.
So
straight up,
I think that's like, people always ask me shit. Like I have like a Curious Cat set up now and everything, so people can ask me questions. One that comes up a lot is just like, what would be your biggest advice to like people starting out rapping? And I would say like, definitely like approach it as a hobby at first. Like don't just like jump into it like I'm gonna be a professional rapper, like right off rip. You'll know if it's for you or not pretty quickly, I feel like.
For sure. Yeah, I've definitely received questions like that too, where people sort of present to me their circumstances and they say, hey, I want to do this full time, so I'm thinking about quitting. Could I get your thoughts on that, right? And I see that they don't really have any records out. Maybe they'll have one song. I can tell that the equipment isn't great. And, equipment isn't as important as what you have to bring to the table. But I think needs to be a level of like quality to your product that will communicate to people that you take yourself seriously, and will just make it easier for people to kind of tune in general. And, you don't have to splash out to make yourself sound good these days, luckily. Yeah. But, it'll be that the person has never performed live. They don't have really connections. They haven't networked. They don't have a discography, a history out there, a real good understanding of what they are as an artist. What do they have to bring to the table? And they want to take that leap because whatever they're doing is something that they do not enjoy, and maybe it's destroying them. And so they feel like, well, let me jump into this unknown. Now, if you're going to be doing that, that's definitely an unknown because you haven't really, gotten your feet wet just yet. So I would say if you need to leave your current job, go find a different one, but at least it would definitely have a little bit more certainty behind it, Going into a rap career without having really rapped is like going into any other career that demands a very like specific level of skill acquired by then. You cannot you can't quit being a barista and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to be a pilot next week. And you've never piloted a plane,
Yeah.
It's the same here. Like you cannot jump in and be like, I'm going to be a doctor next week. You need some experience. You need some qualifications. Luckily, with being an artist, you don't need diplomas. You don't need to present people with diplomas to say, see, this is a testament to how good I am or how much I care about this. You don't need that, but you need to have a set of core skills before you take such a big risk.
Yeah.
Going back to what Bill and I were saying earlier, we took risks, but we assessed them and we got to this point. We could have taken this risk years ago, but we didn't. And I'm glad we didn't. Maybe, we could have been okay if we took them sooner, but back then I certainly wouldn't have felt as comfortable to do it. Now, at least I feel way less stressed out. Yes, there's a bit of a pressure knowing that now me being able to pay for food, for shelter, everything depends on how well I'm performing in chasing my dreams.
Yeah.
but at least I know that I have something I can look back on that will reassure me that I'm capable of making this a reality. And if I were just jumping into it unknown, I haven't established a following or something, I probably wouldn't be having a good time because I'd be so fucking scared or stressed out.
I agree. It would have been way, way harder back then. But I actually received, just kind of going back to what we were talking about right before then, was I received a message from this guy, and he was saying, he was like, yeah, I really want to quit my job and pursue a career in music. And the guy had like 100 followers on like Instagram. Mm-hmm. And like follower count isn't everything, like, especially when you're just kind of like, you know, just thinking about putting music out and whatever, like, but my point was, and the thing that he said was, how do I quit my job and pursue music, but like not disappoint my mom? And I was just like, first of all, you can't just like jump into something blindly like that when you have like no fans yet. You know, you have to like gather those, and it takes time. Sometimes it's faster than other times, but like, I think what a lot of people don't understand is like, it's not necessarily the product that you're putting out. It's more about the branding behind it. Like, okay, I think a perfect example of this was like, I put out my most successful record to date is Ramona, right? And I put that one out in 2014, and like we got like a little bit of like listens and plays and downloads and stuff like that, like when it first dropped, but like it took that years for people to be like, holy shit, this is an album that I like. It took a long time for it to grow to what it is now. You know, it took a little bit of digging on other people's parts, and a lot of that comes from branding and like social media and like how you work it. And there's like algorithms and all this stuff. I'm not like a scientist. Like I don't a scientist. I'm not like a social media analyst or anything like that. Like I don't know. Like,
look, I'm not some kind of dentist.
Yeah, I'm not some kind of harpoonist here, you know. But no, like there is a science behind it. I don't really quite know it. I just know like what works for us and what doesn't, you know. But I do think that social media is like a pretty big part of it. And if you're not doing social media, you got to find some other like vehicle to advertise through. And I mean, for a lot of people, that's a record label or, you know, like channels on YouTube that fuck with you or something like that. You know what I mean? But without having those kinds of connections and also having the products to back it up, like it's a little bit more than just like, are you good at making music? Because there's so many producers and musicians that I know now that are like criminally slept on just because like they don't quite have the branding behind them that they need, you know? And so that was like my advice to also just like, you can't ride on, like he was like, how do I not, you know, I don't know his mom, right? But like, how do you not disappoint your mom when you quit your job to become a musician? Is like, I don't know the right answer to that, but there is an element of you got to stop worrying about disappointing people and worry about yourself when you do this kind of thing.
Yeah, don't disappoint yourself. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And no matter what you're going to do. And just approach everything with nuance. We tend to look at things in very binary ways because that is maybe the most intuitive way to look at things. You know, something is either good or it's bad. So something is either a good idea or a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's not how things in life work. So make sure to approach things with nuance and an element of kind of depth. So everything that Bill just listed off, all those things that you need, they all play a part. And not a single one of them is more important than the other. If we hadn't had Ramona, a lot of people wouldn't have heard our music years down the road. You know, let's say even like Matt from Super Mega heard our music. That's because it just so happens that someone posted it on 4chan. And someone posted it on 4chan because we had a record. And the reason it could have possibly made it to 4chan to begin with is because we built a bit of a following before then. Me through Hyperkinesis, Bill through Tumblr, and before that, we acquired the skill level so that we could get to that point through making a lot of not so great music for many years.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff was trial and error, but we were having fun. And so, yeah, everything plays like a part. And there's definitely an element of luck that's involved. But luck is not going to help you if you have no music. And luck is not likely to favor you if you don't have some sort of footing already. So I would say, again, approach everything with nuance and try to not disappoint yourself first and foremost. And then I think, if you really if you don't disappoint yourself, I think you probably won't disappoint your mom either. And that's how I see it.
Yeah, Super Nintendo, 3 blunts, green crack with stupid bimbos, green dunks, tree sap. We cling on like Klingons without a space plans. 90s baby living not without the Space Jam. In a perfect world, we love without the turd to hurl. That shit slinging. Go to bed like what these kids thinking. I innovate off lemon haze, I need to crush to fall. Back in the day, I'd slip away and I'd give a fuck at all. My descent was defined by madness of the temporary kind. In my sins, I'm buried high, so I get so very high. But now's the time to change. I just wanna get back to the finer things. Slow down, take my own advice. I burned a lot of bridges, at least I could own it, right? I'm from the ADB, a kid with ADD, relishing my flaws, that what make me me. And I don't wanna have to change for you. Life lessons, girl, you kick the thing or two, so let us slow jam. Cut the frames in the program, take it down a notch, hit the lights, this is us. And I ain't trying to kick game at you. I stayed for the high, but I came for you, so let us slow jam. Cut the frames on the program, FPS 10, what's the SPF then? I got burned, I grown colder when we used to blow Doja. It was all love, baby, why'd I get the cold shoulder? Sub-Zero, my puns are bad. I'm no hero, have fun with that. Just as sure as the beat skips on CDs, cracks through the surface, let me ask, was it worth it? Never that, see I've been to hell and back, I didn't like it very much. I feel my mind is very fucked from the experience. It's clear that it's foolish, straight peerlessness. I wish that I was fearless, but I fell into a rut, so better smack from the gun butts, blow from the crack, feel that one knuckle grow, I don't fucking know. And that's some shit to think about, glass half full until you came along to drink it out.
What are you talking about? He who conquers the left side conquers the world.
And I don't wanna have to change for you. Life lessons, girl, you kick the thing or two, so let us slow jam. Cut the frames on the program, take it down a notch, hit the lights, this is us. And I ain't trying to kick game at you. I stayed for the high, but I came for you, so let us slow jam. Cut the frames on the program, FPS 10, what's the SPF then? I got burned.
I think one of the big things for me is like I've completely shed, like I wouldn't say completely shed, but to a degree I shed my worries about what people think about me from an outside perspective. And part of this comes from living in a small town where people tend to get stuck here. There's just a lot of people I know that they grew up and their dad worked in like, I don't know, like waste management or something like that. Okay. And then like all their life, they knew they were going to grow up and work in waste management for their father. And it's a lot of people. To me personally, that sounds incredibly boring. You're basically like a second version of your father. And it's fine if you want to do that. But me personally, I think that that's boring. I don't want to do that. My dad worked in a paper mill. I don't want to work in a paper mill. It's just like I wanted to do something that was completely different and on my own. And then like before I used to worry about what people thought about me. And now I'm like, why would I worry about what they think when they're just kind of doing the same thing that everyone else is doing around them all the time? Like, what's the point in worrying about that when they're taking it safe and doing this? And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. But I had to like tell myself like, yo, why would I care about what so-and-so has to say about me being a rapper for a living when like they're not doing anything out of the ordinary anyway. So who cares? You know, that's kind of what I did. And the more I've done that, the more I feel like I've been accepted by people, you know, like now I own it. Now I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I'm a musician. If they ask, I'll be like, yeah, I rap. And sometimes I'll get weird looks, but fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? So
yeah, exactly. I think it's far more interesting than giving some sort of played out answer and you know, saying that you're something that you don't fully believe in. And if you really enjoy rap and you are a rapper and that's what you do, then you should be able to say it with pride, even if there's some stigma associated with it.
yeah.
Bill, I'm looking at my the back of my head,
Sick, dude.
and I'm reading that it is time.
What time is it?
I don't know. I'm just playing. It's ad time.
Oh, shit. At time.
I have a very special product for you today, guys.
Shit.
Very special.
Shit.
So, Bill, tell me.
Yes.
Are you familiar with press-on nails?
Yes, I am very familiar. A little too familiar.
Okay. Well, then you'll be excited about this product. That's right. You've all been asking for it. Press-on foreskin.
Finally, dude. Oh, I can't wait to get mine in the mail.
You feeling a little cold? Feeling a little sad? Throw some skin on that hoe.
Little skin. Also known as Furskin.
Bill, you've been using this product all day long, and I want to know how you feel about it.
I mean, honestly, the only word that comes to mind, and literally the only word, cozy. I'm feeling real cozy right now.
Turtleneck.
Yeah, it's like a turtleneck sweater. The best time to wear a foreskin sweater is all the time. But yeah, no, it's great. I'm warm. Reminds me of a sweater that my grandmother knitted me when I was a child around Christmas time, except it's on my dick. So it's pretty great though. I mean, it's almost like an elasticy kind of material. It's stretchy, but it fits snugly. You know, the circulation is still there. You know, thank God. You know, and I think that overall, I think it's a great product. I'm really hoping that they come out with foreskin overalls one day. You know what I'm saying?
But guys, I don't get it. I already have foreskin. What do I do then? Ha ha ha, shut the fuck up, Jimmy. Even if you have skin, you can still slap the press-on foreskin on top for double the comfort.
Double the comfort, you say? Then you'd have two foreskins. But Dad, why did Bill get two foreskins and I only got one?
Because 8 skin.
Exactly. Got two foreskins. Because life isn't fair, little Jimmy.
Because life isn't fair. Go to your room. God, I hate you. Bill, isn't there like you were telling me this before the episode started.
Yeah.
They're making a Netflix documentary on this product, right? Could you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah. It's directed by
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone is directing it. Good guy. He actually puts 3 or 4 of these things on every day because of his massive schlong, and it has to, like, you know, make up. I don't know. I didn't ask questions. Anyway, yeah, he's doing a documentary on it. But the documentary is starring
international fighting game superstar Justin Wong.
And he like holds our hand and takes us into a world of foreskin that is detachable and reattachable at any moment. And they use good cameras. Nat Geo's helping with it. Anyway, Rav, talk a little more about it.
Oh, actually, before I talk more about it, I've heard there's rumors of a sequel being in production already, a different director. Is that the case?
Oh, yeah. Quentin Tarantino is working on this one. Can't wait. Great dialogue I've heard that he wrote for this documentary. on Foreskin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. He also just like, there's like a 20-minute segment of him just like sniffing a lady's feet. It was real strange, but artsy.
And there you go. There you guys have it. Don't forget to pick up your own Press On Foreskin on presson4.skin/Kill Bill and Rav. Where is my foreskin.com//.
Sick, dude. You have to actually type out /
Disneyland? More like kiss me, man.
You have to bring it in, brother.
Bill, I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Did you ever used to rent games out from Blockbuster back in the day?
We didn't have a Blockbuster. We had the equivalent was the movie gallery. That's what they called it.
Okay.
But yeah, we did do that. Yeah, we did. Did you guys do that a lot, or?
Yeah, well, I used to go to Blockbuster and get like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
That's a good
and
one.
stuff like that. That's how I actually got into Tony Hawk. I was already a little bit into skateboarding. I was kind of getting into skateboarding, but I hadn't played the video games just yet. So I went to Blockbuster, to one of the Blockbuster stores, and they didn't have any games I was really interested in. And so I picked that one up and was immediately just blown away by how cool everything was. And I got addicted hella fast. And after that, I was just buying game after game.
Those were a great set of games. My favorite was Tony Hawk Underground 2. That was my favorite one.
Underground 2 was great. Great soundtrack, too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, they all had great soundtracks.
That one had Aesop Rock and Idea, right? And Slug as well, I think.
I think that one had, if I remember correctly, it was the first time I'd ever heard it had, it was Aesop, Slug, and MF Doom on a song together over a Mole Men beat.
Oh, tight, yes.
Put Your Quarter Up. That's what it was. And that was the first time.
Put Your Quarter Up.
That was that was my introduction to all three of those rappers.
Yeah.
Like I'd never heard anything by them before. And like each one of them blew me away.
Same here. I got introduced to Atmosphere, Aesop Rock, and even Idea, like the Big Shot song, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did have that.
Shot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of great songs on there, and then there was a few. I think there was like a Dead Kennedy song that got me into the Dead Kennedys at that point. I think it was California Uber Alice was on there, and a couple other ones. But yeah, that was a good one. We would always do this thing where we would rent games, and like me and my friend would rent the same games a lot. Like it would be like I would rent it for like a week and then he would rent it, and we would like rent Zelda or something like that, you know, like on the N64, and then we would always like make a save file that was like some dumbass name, and then like it would be specifically for whoever. So like we're like 8 or 9 years old, and then like I would like boot up the game, you know, I'd start up the game, and then like on the bottom it would be like Link would be the top one, and then the second one would be like Smells Like, and then the last one would be just Ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I loved borrowing games or renting games in general, was because the save files, if there were save files on the thing, like obviously if you're playing PlayStation, then you're just getting a disc.
Yeah.
But if you're playing any of the cartridge games or borrowing or renting any of the cartridge games, chances are there was going to be a save file or two already on there. So, and sometimes people were pretty funny.
Yeah. It wasn't that often though for me. Like you would think it would be more often that people would like at least have like a funny name in there.
Because a lot of times people just, you know, bought the game and like, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play this new Zelda game. I'm going to I'm going to call him my name, Jeff, because that's epic. And that makes me think I'm in the game. And then like he's walking around like, Jeff, what are you doing? And like, oh my God, that's my name. How did they know?
Yeah. I also like it how like all children would always put their name in all caps, and then like adults wouldn't. And that's how you knew like the age of the player. Like, cause all mine would always be like Billy, but it would be in all caps. And then like other people's, they would be like, you could tell if they were like a sensible adult because they would spell their name grammatically correctly and all this stuff. You know what I mean?
All caps. more like small flaps.
What was your favorite game?
My favorite game, like from Blockbuster.
I mean, yeah, I guess that you like. Was there like a game that you like would rent all the time or like come back to?
It was Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk, yeah.
The second Tony Hawk, and then I remember because shortly after that, I got the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
And that shit was so tight. It was so good. Still such a good game. And you could unlock Spider-Man.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you used to be able to unlock Spider-Man in a lot of games back in the day. So lots of like, not lots of fighting games, but like you'd be able to unlock them in X-Men games, you know? I said X-Men.
Yeah, I was gonna let the internet correct you on that one.
Sex Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, the X-Men games, Tony Hawk games, some of them allowed you like to unlock Spider-Man. It was like a thing.
Yeah.
And it was cool. Like sometimes it was done quite like cleverly.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't tell you what my favorite game I rented was, but I could tell you one story. So at the movie gallery, they had this thing where it was like, it wasn't like at Blockbuster. I think at Blockbuster, correct me if I'm wrong, but like if you had a game for a certain amount of time, they made you just buy the game, but instead of like paying the crazy late fee that there would be, like if you kept it for so long. But one time when I was a kid, I rented an NBA game. I can't remember which one it was. It was for PS2. And then we put it, I lost it. It was like under my bed for like, I'm not kidding, like 3 months. Like,
oh yeah,
I couldn't find it. And then like my mom was like, I just got this message that like you've had like a video game for like 3 months. It was like $5 a week or something like that. It would have been like really expensive. Oof. And so my mom just like canceled our account. And then like never paid
the right
for
thing
it.
to do.
Yeah, and then like my grandma made an account.
Okay, yeah, that's the move.
Yeah. So we somehow got out of paying for that. Like I'm not exactly sure how that happened. I mean, we returned the game. Like it wasn't like we just kept it. But yeah, there's the
FBI is gonna bust through your door any second.
Yeah,
now.
dude, any second. The company's bankrupt now. Like I'm pretty sure they're not a thing anymore. Then another thing is my friend Will. He had Grand Theft Auto Vice City, okay? And so he they didn't like, you know how they would put stickers on the games to like let people know that it was their game?
Right.
He had Grand Theft Auto Vice City that he bought with his own money, okay? And then it got real scratched up. And so he went and rented the Vice City and just switched the games around and wrote movie gallery on there, and then like no one ever called him out on it. Like
no,
that's
crazy.
Yeah, so he thought he was real slick. He was always doing shit like that,
and he was slick. Wow.
Yeah, and my last movie gallery
he
story.
them.
Yeah, he really did. But my last movie gallery story was there was this game. I was really, really into Yu-Gi-Oh when I was in middle school. Like I was constantly playing the Game Boy Advance game, which was a great game. We played that together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there was this PS1 game. I can't remember which one it is, but it's I think it's the only PS1 Yu-Gi-Oh game, and it's really, really bad. Okay, like laughably bad.
Right.
The graphics are terrible. The game works differently. Like the mechanics are different. The storyline is like terrible. It's really awful, right? But I didn't know that. And like, I couldn't find this game anywhere. And this is pre-internet. Like we had the internet, but like I wasn't like buying games off the internet at this point. And so like they had it at the movie gallery, but it was always checked out. And I would come there like every other day on the way home from school. I would like force my mom and be like, let's see if it's there. We go there, it wouldn't be there. And then like it was to the point where they would recognize me and they'd be like, it's not in today. And we would just walk out.
That's sad.
I was so sad about it, right? And then like one day, like I'm not kidding, like 7 or 8 months later, they replaced it. And I couldn't find it in stores. Like that was the big thing. It's like I just wanted to play this game. They replaced it like 7 or 8 months later. I was so excited. I played it and it was like the most god awful fucking game I've ever played in my life. And I was so disappointed.
But like for the first 10 minutes, were you like super happy and stoked?
Yeah, I was, until like I saw the graphics, like the intro cutscene. And I was just like, oh no.
Right. See, I was like, at that age, I was still, even if it was like garbage graphics, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm ready. Because I played so many whack-ass, trash-ass games growing up, especially on the NES and Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
That I kind of, I guess my expectations were different. They're pretty low. If there was any motion on the screen and there's some colors in there, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, no, I was like that when I was younger, but like I feel like when you're hitting middle school, that's when things start getting a little bit like you start getting disappointed with things that you don't like, or at least I did.
Right. I think it took me until I was like 10 or 11, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing was like people who played Yu-Gi-Oh back then know what I'm talking about. Like there was a string of really bad Yu-Gi-Oh games. Like okay, the first Yu-Gi-Oh game I ever played was the one on the Advance, which is like Eternal Duelist Soul, and the one that came after that, I can't remember. Both of those are really good games. And because it's just a card game, it's fun, you know, just the way it is. And it has like a little bit of a storyline, but it's nothing too crazy. But there was a game on the PS2 that I pre-ordered. I think it was like War of the Roses or Duelist of the Roses. I can't remember. That one was like really bad. It's not even what they would do is change the game like all the time. So anyone who like played Yu-Gi-Oh at that time knows like they would get super stoked for a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh game. It would come out and then it would be like not Yu-Gi-Oh. Like it would be like a different game with Yu-Gi-Oh skin basically. And but the PS1 one was like particularly bad. Like it was like a really awful game. So it was like one of those things that like I was so excited because the idea of just playing the normal card game with like cool graphics was like I would have been excited for that. But instead they were just like, nah, fuck that shit. We're going to make it weird.
Yeah. R.I.P. man.
Yeah. R.I.P. the Yu-Gi-Oh players, the duelist in the duelist kingdom, dueling it up.
Hey, dude.
I like that. Is that your new ad lib?
Bill, give me your newest ad lib right now.
My newest ad lib?
From the heart. Don't think. Just let your mouth go.
Free Palestine.
Look, they say I think too much, but they ain't thinking enough. I've come across water way thicker than blood. Never catch me drinking it up or spitting it out. I ain't giving shit up. We're all clumps of stardust stuck together and we wanna shine. That's why some are petrified of running out of time. And I'm running out of mind, running out of line. Punching by design, funky with the rhyme, See people praying for a bright exit at the end. Well, I'm just trying to enjoy the tunnel that we're in. Steady searching for something within. Why we judging qualities in others with this underlying envy in our skin? Damn, hold up, am I preaching again? Am I being too naive? Am I reaching again? Should I joke about it and show how facetious I am? It's easy starts from breaching my frame and bleaching my brain. I fell to the quicksand and now I'm way beneath the ground. I found something pure, but you don't hear me now. You don't hear me now.